In 2016, Netflix released the sci-fi horror series Stranger Things. The story is set in the fictional town of Hawkins, Indiana, in the 1980s. The first season of the series revolves around the disappearance of a young boy and the efforts of his young friends and a mysterious girl with telekinetic powers to find him. Early on in the tale, the mysterious girl known as 11 is being held prisoner by what appears to be government operatives at a lab ran by the U.S. Department of Energy in the wilderness outside of Hawkins. We come to realize that the government is performing experiments on 11, who is gifted with supernatural mental abilities, in order to spy on their Cold War USSR enemies from afar. 11 is placed in a sensory deprivation tank and enters into a state that allows her to remotely view the USSR agents from the laboratory in Indiana. While in the state, 11 comes into contact with a creature referred to as the Monster or the DemoGorgon, and her mental avatar flees from the creature in terror. The monster gives chase, and in the process, it tears an opening between its home dimension and ours. This portal or gate appears at the lab, which the monster comes through. 11 then escapes from the lab while the monster attacks the scientists there. Soon after, it is revealed that the monster has the ability to tear holes into the fabric between its dimension and ours at various locations around Hawkins. A young boy, Will, is attacked by the monster early on in the story and is taken back to this alternate dimension by the monster. Will's friends are determined to find their lost friend. They search the local wilderness, but instead of finding Will, they discover 11. Later, 11 reveals her powers to the boys, as well as the true location of Will. The boys play the pen and paper role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons, which was quite popular during that era. The RPG could be played with a game board and miniatures. To explain just where Will is trapped, 11 sits before the game board and then flips it over. She then places the DemoGorgon miniature on the game board alongside the miniature representing Will. In Dungeons & Dragons game lore, the DemoGorgon is known as the Prince of Demons and Lord of all that swims in darkness. It is considered one of the most deadly monsters players may encounter in the game, standing 18 feet tall with 2 baboon heads, a body covered in lizard scales, and with 2 long tentacles for arms. The boys eventually deduce that the backside of the board that 11 states Will is located is similar to a fantasy location within the Dungeons & Dragons game known as the Vale of Shadows. The Vales of Shadows is a dimension that is a dark reflection, or echo of our world. It is a place of decay and death, a plane out of phase, a place with monsters. It is right next to you and you don't even see it. Although the Vale of Shadows that the boys refer to is a fictional piece of literature created for the show, there is a similar location referred to as the Shadow Plane or Shadowfell in Dungeons & Dragons lore. This location has been referred to as a parallel plane that is a bleak and desolate mirror reflection of the primary one. Because of these similarities with Dungeons & Dragons and the analogy used by the underside of the game board by 11, the boys refer to this alternative plane as the Upside Down. Later in the series, other citizens of Hawkins are either pulled into the Upside Down by the monster or made their way there by a portal it had ripped open. While inside the Upside Down, the visitors discover it is truly a dark mirror image of the human world. The Upside Down has the same geography, with buildings and other landmarks appearing exactly as they would in our world. Inside the Upside Down, there is very little for light. The gloomy fog air is filled with spores that drift about. Plant-like roots cover most surfaces. Large yellow eggs are also seen in the Upside Down, but the only humanoid creature that apparently lives here is the monster or the DemoGorgon. Although sound within the Upside Down seems to work just as it does in the human dimension, noise and sound originating from Hawkins is somehow audible in the Upside Down, almost like an echo effect. We see this when Will is able to hear his mother's calls while he was stuck in the Upside Down. Sound originating from within the Upside Down is not audible to people in Hawkins unless there's a nearby portal or gateway which it can exit. The Upside Down is a dark, desolate realm that exists on the edge of our own, only just out of sight. The eerie and dark world painted by the series creators was not only inspired by Dungeons & Dragons lore, but according to the series creators, the Silent Hill video games also influenced their vision for the Upside Down. The ash-covered town of Silent Hill is soaked in fog, much like the spore-filled, foggy atmosphere found in the Upside Down. The works of Polish painter Beksinski was also cited by the series creators as an influence on them when designing the Upside Down. Beksinski's work was cited for its otherworldly, hellish aspect that is surrounded by a thin layer of something we can't quite make out. Despite the fact that the Upside Down is a purely fictional location, the science behind the concept of the Upside Down could theoretically be possible. The multiverse theory describes a scenario where countless universes exist parallel to ours. Although they exist parallel to ours, traveling to them would likely not be possible based on the current theories. Still, some scientists believe it may be possible to travel to a parallel universe via a wormhole, which would create a tunnel-like connection between our universe and the parallel one. In Stranger Things, Eleven's mental powers apparently have enough potency to create such a gateway, which allow Will's mom and the sheriff to travel into the Upside Down and search for him. With its influence from retro pop culture, the Upside Down seems to be familiar while still remaining alien. It is rooted enough in science that the small possibility that it could exist adds to this familiar feeling, the nostalgic sense of fear we felt as children when the creature hiding in the closet at night was all too real. The creators of Stranger Things saw the Upside Down as vital to their story. They created a 30-page document to describe all the details and rules of the Upside Down, which they use as a key component to the story's development. It is expected that more of the secrets behind the Upside Down will be revealed in Season 2. Netflix's Stranger Things will be back with 9 new episodes on October 27th.